Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our breakdown review of PvP's latest show, which was Go Big or Go Home.
And they did.
And they went big, and we eventually went home. There was a lot of closure to some big, major storylines that have been going on for
A few years.
the main event when we get to that, but has been going on for close to 5 years.
Yeah.
If you factor in the pandemic, you put that time in there, it's been 5 years. You take that out, it's been about 3. But they kept it alive, and
Kudos to them.
and that's one of the things that I've been saying about PvP was that they do their storylines justice. They no matter what
They see them
curveball
through. Yeah.
has been thrown at them, they try to get some kind of closure on it, and boy did we.
It was worth the wait.
Yeah, it was. This happened November 18th, 2022. New venue for us for PvP. It was at the South End Community Center out in Springfield, and great venue. I don't think the venue itself helps to
With crowd noise.
The crowd
yeah.
noise, but man, the crowd was there. There was a few times that it felt like it was kind of dead, but I think that was
The
a
high
sound
ceilings,
issue.
yeah.
That being said, everybody was there at the end. That's for damn sure. We had our announcer extraordinaire, Cameron Coe, doing another amazing job. Even did a little ventriloquist work.
Oh, bless.
No,
If you know, you know.
He did a great job, as always. And he just keeps getting better. We had 2 refs on this night. We had Miggy Stripes.
Yay, Mickey Stripes.
We love Miggy.
Yep.
And our senior ref Vinny.
Who always does his job, Jim.
He's always doing his job, whether he's being called out or not. We also had a bell ringer extraordinaire, Mr. Nick Schultz.
Dapper Dan, he was.
Dapper Dan. Gotta bust his balls. And then we had our sound guy, John Roy. I guess we're just gonna dive right into these matches. And the first one was a semifinal match from the tournament that started the previous show, and it was RJ Rude, who was able to sing his own entrance theme.
Which was fun.
His band was there, which is always grounded. Check them out on Spotify. They're fun. They're a really fun group. So he got to sing his own entrance theme, which was pretty cool. And he was facing the grapple god, Jordan Rowe.
Boo.
This kid. It's a good thing he's talented, that's for sure. But the problem is he knows it.
Yeah.
And again, this was a semifinal match in the All Valley tournament. And what a match. I mean, it was quick.
It was a quick
It
match.
went quick. But RJ Rude got a little beat up in the match.
Yeah, and you could see it.
Yeah,
that at first you thought, is this
a ploy, or,
right?
Is he
Exactly.
swerving somebody? No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he tweaked something.
Something happened to his leg,
And what a trooper
but
that he continued.
fought through it, and fighting through it, he ended up getting the W over Jordan Rowe, which. Being injured, that kind of surprised me. I didn't see it going that way after RJ being hurt.
Right.
But he pulled it out. We've said it right along since he came back as a singles. He's proving himself, and he
with each match, you can
proved
just
it
see
with that match. That's
yeah.
for sure. And then the next match was the other semifinal match, which was one of our guys, one of our favorites, and that's Kingpin Brian Malonis.
Those dimples.
Oh, well, that's on you and on me. I'm not looking at the man's dimples, but Brian Malonis is just he's an incredible wrestler. He really is.
He has such a presence.
Yeah, he's not just a great wrestler for a big guy. He's a great wrestler. He really is. He's one of the best. I mean, you don't end up in Ring of Honor because you're okay. You got to be one of the best, and he was. He was one of the best. Is one of the best, and he was facing one of the up and comers now, and that's legit Perfect Perkins, he's a big dude and impressive as all get out,
and really a nice guy.
He's a nice guy, outside the ring, but man, can he go too?
But how tall? Holy cats!
I keep looking up, and it's not far enough. It
Right.
really is. And this was another match that was just a great. It was a fight. Perfect Perkins was fighting from underneath the whole time.
Unfortunately for him, he was fighting against a brick wall.
Yeah, experience was not on his side. Let's put it that way.
When a man his size bounces off the rope and then flings himself at Kingpin, and he just stands there and laughs at him.
He brushed it off like dust off your shirt.
I mean, that's not to say that he wasn't doing enough. It just, unfortunately...
It was the wrong guy.
I think when he does get more experience, he'll learn to exploit some of his weaknesses, Brian Malonis' weaknesses, which, to be fair, are very few.
Yeah.
But I think that I think in a few years, if we saw this match again, it might go a different way.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. So that being said, Brian Malonis took the W, literally took it.
There were a couple of times that you thought maybe LPP was going to take the W, but no.
No, it didn't. No, Kingpin won that one, and so that sets up the finals of the tournament to be Brian Malonis versus RJ Rude. Then our next was a Survivor Series style match. It was 4-on-4, which means you gotta eliminate each an opponent off of either side until they're all gone. This was kind of changed off of what the original card was, but card subject to change, as
right.
We always say. The first team out was
Haru. Danny Miles.
Danny Miles and BRG was the head of that team, and H2O Ryan Waters.
Right.
And then they were facing the Hall of Famer team, which was led out by not competing in the match, by Johnny Idol, one of our all-time favorites.
Yes.
And he led the team of Aaron Morrison, Doc Hersey, and Thomas Santel, and SWB.
How did we forget him?
I forget that that was there too.
Apologies.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. This night was crazy, beyond crazy. So,
so we're a
please
little
bear
tired.
With me. And this match was just ballistic. There was action everywhere. Teams were acting against each other. They were acting with each other. Johnny Idol may or may not have gotten involved at one point.
Potatoes may have been swung.
The there was a lot of craziness in this match, and there's going to be in a Survivor Series style match. There was just a lot going on. But if
I don't know what the other team were calling themselves.
it was Team Victorious because it was BRG's
right.
Team Victorious and Victorious BRG, and
Boo.
He's a bum. He's a bum. He's a bum.
They started out first being victorious. They
were up 4-3, and then there was a little bit of dissension in the end on Idol's team, on the Hall of Fame team, and it was just craziness, and
it was hard to keep track of sometimes because there were so many things going on.
At one point, they BRG and I think it was I don't remember, one of his other opponents they said screw it, and they were leaving, and then SWB and somebody else went and dragged them. It's Thomas Santel dragged them back to the ring, and got them back involved, and in the end, BRG ended up taking the win.
Boo.
And it was what it was.
The Legends, they gave it their all.
they gave their all, just wasn't enough.
And
but it was good to see everybody out there. Like I said, getting to see Johnny Idol near a ring again is always exciting. Got to see SWB, which that gets everybody excited, but nobody more so than Foggy. Gangsta.
Bless.
And then you get see Doc and Aaron, and Aaron isn't being all that quiet about it right now. That he's looking to make a little bit more of a run coming up. Maybe the next year here. He's got a little bit of a laundry list of opponents that he wants to face, and I'm all for this. I really am, because the opponents he's got on that list, I'm looking forward to those matches. That led us into the PvP Women's Championship match, and this is another one that was fell to card subject to change. It was supposed to be a triple threat match, as it was advertised.
Right.
It was supposed to be the champion, Ariella Nix, who was the champion pre-COVID at the last PvP show before the shutdown. She was still the champion, and obviously we haven't seen her since. And so they brought her back, and they have a new title, which was
sharp.
As close as I could see it. It was a pretty sharp looking title. Kind of looks like it resembles the heavyweight championship that they have, the men's championship. And it was supposed to be Ariella Nix versus Big Juicy versus Little Mean Kathleen. For outside issues, Little Mean Kathleen was not able to show up. So it was just...
Which is understandable.
For all the right reasons.
Right.
So this one was Ariella Nix versus Big Juicy.
And there was nothing wrong with that.
Let me tell you, Big Juicy's our girl. We've always supported her from day one.
Love her to bits.
And she proved herself to be championship material.
She came out and she was ready.
She wasn't fooling around.
The energy she brings is so much fun.
Yeah.
But when it's time to get serious, she does.
Yep. Yeah. She's, Kulik nicknamed her during the pandemic the Queen of Charisma, and damn it if she's not. She really is. She's got charisma in spades, and we just really love Big Juicy, and so this one there was no doubt in our mind that Juicy was going to take this, and she did.
And she fought hard. It's not like it was just handed to her.
She didn't mow over Ariella Nix. Ariella Nix is a proven competitor, and she was a champion for a reason. And well, now you're new PvP Women's Champion is Big Juicy. Right there. That's our girl, Big Juicy. And, I'm so happy for her.
Yeah.
Because she's proven herself time and time again. And
she earned it.
She earned it. It was a hard-fought match, and she took it out. And I'm so happy for her.
And I hope to see many title defenses.
Yeah. Successful
yes.
title defenses.
Yes, obviously. But it was really great to see women back at PvP.
Yep. Yeah, but they were getting everything show by show. Everything was getting put into place.
Oh, I understand that,
and
but
this was the right time. And
I'm just saying that
timing
it was
right.
Great to see women back at
100%. 100%. That led us into even more craziness. And this is the Fatal 4-Way ladder match.
Oh my goodness.
So
talk about...
This is a ladder... It's a tag team ladder match, 4-way. It's crazy. 4 teams going for the PvP tag team titles that are hung up above the ring. And, man, these teams were crazy too. We had the Brick City Boys, who are an amazing team. They really are. You had the Haven.
I love the Haven.
And they were...
They came in for
Waves and Curls. Waves and Curls are out due to injury to Trayvon Jordan. Get well soon.
Yes.
We love Waves and Curls.
Yes, we do.
But we also love the Haven. The Haven are an amazing team.
They're very talented.
And then you
nice
had
men too.
The Miracle Generation, Dustin Waller and Kylon King, who are
insanely talented.
Yeah. Versus the Closers, and this was
an announcement.
Yeah, the Closers were replacing. I don't know if replacing Hammer Tunis because of his injury.
Is it a replacement or an addition?
Well, I guess they're kind of calling it an addition because
time will tell, I guess.
But as for the tag team itself, right now it's a replacement. He's taking Hammer's place, and that's you've heard this name already at the beginning, and that was Jordan Rowe, the Grapple God. And if anybody's gonna fit the Closers blueprint, yeah, it's him. He fits the mold. He really does. I mean, he's a collegiate wrestler. He really is. It hurts me to say some of these things. Not really. He's super talented. Again, the problem is he knows it, and he doesn't mind telling you twice even.
Yeah, the arrogance kind of overshadows
that. But this...
I was really surprised, though, when they brought him out. I know you said, yeah, okay, I can see that. I saw it going so many different ways, and he wasn't even on my radar. I'm not, again, looking back, I can see where the dominoes were being placed.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
I did not expect it. So when I saw younger Tunis coming out with his brother and Bacon, and he was in street clothes, I thought, well, that's not right.
Yeah.
So
he was one of my top 2 choices. My top 1 choice or guess was...
You were hoping.
It was a hope. It wasn't a guess. It was and they kind of, laid the foundation for me to feel that way with some wording online and everything where they said something about wild and sassy. I thought it was going to be TK O'Ryan. But I also hoped it would be TK O'Ryan because he's one of the original Closers. So that's kind of where my mind went. And then I thought, my other thought was it was going to be Jason Tunis.
Right. And
he's just going to sit in his big brother's back pocket, I guess, and do his bidding. What are you going to do? I mean...
Free Jason!
But I don't think he wants to be freed. He's drinking the Kool-Aid. But this ladder match was crazy.
from the get.
The biggest loser in this match was Stanley the Ladder, because his legs are twisted and broken and everything else, and that was the one that they had to.
God bless Dustin Waller, because he's the reason why those Titers,
Man.
he kept that ladder up by himself. Well, I think also Bacon.
Bacon had it on his back, and he was lifting, holding it up.
He had Dustin Waller also on his back, and
it was craziness. It really was. I mean, I've seen a couple of ladder matches now, Ivan in person, not what you see on TV, but at the indie show, we've seen a few. A couple of them, and one actually was in that building for a different promotion, and they're just crazy. But the ladder that they were using, one of the ladders they were using was used before, and not only was it used before, but it was abused before.
It was already bent.
It was built to climb around corners, so it was not. It was in no way, shape, or form ready for its night.
And that just added to the suspense.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
how are they going to do this?
How are we getting those titles now? Because none of them are tall enough to get on anybody else's shoulders.
It was fun sitting next to Tara Martin, and she said, with the time they took fooling around using that ladder to bash everybody, they could have just put it up and climbed and got the belts.
Yeah, there was a whirly bird moment where somebody had it down, and they spun around and knocked 3 guys out. It was a ladder match. It's a car wreck.
And common sense takes a back seat in those things, because you're thinking of destroying your opponent.
Yeah.
You're not. Yes, the ultimate goal is to get the belts.
Right.
But
it's the damage that you can do, and all the bells and whistles, and the closers brought in, well, all the bells and whistles. If it weren't for cheating, they
every other team fought so hard, and everybody, they got their spots in.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like, okay, it's my turn. Okay, it flowed.
It flowed. Yes, it flowed, and that was backstage terminology, I guess. That's just that just shows that they constructed a good match, and they did it for a ladder match. For what it was a great ladder match.
I found myself holding my breath.
I think there was a couple of times you did the old watching through your fingers. Yeah, I know
I'm guilty of that.
There was another match that you did that too. Like, what are we missing? But we didn't miss anything, man. This match was on fire, and the closers, they took the W, and they stole the W. But
yeah,
again, those ladders were the real losers in this match. They really were. They need to be retired. Never to be seen from again.
But kudos to the talents.
All 8 guys.
Because that was an incredible match, and it could have gone sideways.
But it could have gone any way.
Right.
Any one of those 4 teams could have pulled that out.
To be fair, I am not a fan of the closers at all. Boo. But I did not see them taking the belts. I really didn't. My heart was hoping the Haven was going to take it because I just really like them. And then but another part of my brain thought that the Brick City Boys could have taken it because everybody else was just...
They were being left alone. And it's like, why are you leaving them alone? You're just giving them the opportunity to climb that ladder and go get them belts.
Right. And, it broke my heart to see the Miracle Generation and the Haven, who are the best of friends.
Yeah, but they make the best of enemies, too.
Well,
and they say it, too. So
it's also, hey, we want this as much as you want this. So they saw each other as like their biggest competition, as well as the closers, and kind of the Brick City Boys were not, they were able to sneak around
Yep.
I mean, they were the first ones to set the ladder up because everybody else was beating the
tar out of each other.
Yeah, exactly. And so I thought, could they sneak up there and get it? And of course, you can't count out the Miracle Generation, who are quick like bunnies. And you thought, okay, Kylon, he's going to just whoop, 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 and grab that. And so when the closers won, I was flabbergasted.
Yeah,
I
legit
did.
shocked.
And very disappointed.
I've seen Flash do things with ladders before.
Right.
In other promotions and be like, wait, what?
Well, when
he's so young too, so
the main ladder, the one that they were to use to climb up,
Stanley,
twisted and bent. I thought for one brief moment that Dustin was going to get up on a turnbuckle, jump, and get those. And then I thought, how sturdy is that rope that's holding these belts? Because I don't know if it's going to be able to hold a man who yes, he's thin, but he's
it's man, there was so much craziness. It was just unbelievable. It's what you wanted a ladder match to be. It really was. I mean, you'd want more stability out of your ladders, whatever. You could nitpick it if you want, but they did an amazing job with what they were given because they still went an amazing amount of time too. It wasn't like it was cut short. You know, they just kept playing with the tools that they had in the best way that they possibly could, improvised, and let's go. It was great.
It's definitely a contender for match of the night.
Hell yeah, it is. Then we had our first intermission. That doesn't usually happen, but you'll understand why when we get there. But so we had our first intermission, go around, talk to everybody. Vendors.
Vendors, thank you. You know, it was fun, it was interesting. I loved that they provided music during the intermission, and it wasn't so overwhelming that you couldn't hear yourself think.
Right.
But it was very enjoyable. Yeah.
It kept the vibe going as best they possibly could.
But it wasn't so much that it gave a needed breather.
Yeah. After that ladder match and the previous matches, you needed, and we got it.
Yeah, but it was great for the enjoyment, and it wasn't like, okay, sit here, twiddle my thumbs, what do I do?
You got to go around, see your people, and you got to go look at these other things, and what could I spend my money on? And we easily could have if we had it, but thankfully we didn't.
Right.
So after the first intermission, we came back to the finals of the All Valley tournament, which, as we said before, was Brian Malonis versus R.J. Rude.
And who was hurt.
Who came limping out.
Yeah.
he came out limping. And
Limpy McGee, as Jim would say.
And, you know, all you're doing is giving a shark a bullseye to bite on.
I know, yeah.
Because
he
Brian
could smell
Malonis
the blood
was
in the water.
All right. You know, I'm going to obliterate you now. And
in different gear.
Yeah. The only wrestler that changed their gear from... Well, no, he's not actually. But...
we'll get to that.
Because Jordan Rowe changed his gear, too, from his...
normal gear to closer.
Regular gear to being a closer now. So he's not the only wrestler. I don't know. I didn't catch on that until I was saying it. But it was a noticeable difference. He was wearing black and yellow in his first match. Brian Malonis was. And then come out to his finals match with R.J. Rude, he's wearing blue and black.
Right.
Which I like the blue and black on him.
It's
I really
sharp.
do.
Yeah.
It really pops. And I don't know when he decided to change, but it wasn't soon before the end of intermission because he was still tying his tights when he's standing in the ring. But that's just me being...
I wonder if he changed his headband.
You'd have to ask him.
He saw R.J. Rude come limping out, and you could see the gleam in his eye. He was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do to this fella.
He's going to obliterate this leg of his. And
he did. He worked on it and worked on it, and you could see the pain.
When he was in Ring of Honor, towards the end of his run there, he was saying that he's the best pure wrestler in the world. Well, he put some wrestling holds on R.J. Rude that I don't think R.J. has ever seen before.
And he will not forget.
I mean, he even threw out a Dory Funk spinning toe hold, which, okay, anybody else does that, it's no big deal. But somebody the size of Brian Malonis does it, well, your leg is about to be ripped off.
Right.
He did a couple of other ones on there. And how? I don't really even know how RJ pulled it out. It was,
on a wing and a prayer, and that's pretty much it.
They laid out, who's your pick on Pioneer Valley's Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And I laid it out that I wanted RJ to win it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have him facing
Brian Malonis.
I had him facing Perfect Perkins. Mm-hmm. And so, that still would have been a tall feat.
No pun intended.
No, all intended. But, that would have been a hard-fought match as well.
Right, yes.
But I didn't have him facing Brian Malonis. And
that's
God
trying to wrestle a brick wall.
He faced Brian Malonis and he did not give up. And did not give up. And he kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And
he's scrappy.
It's a damn good thing he's scrappy.
Right.
And the kid won it.
And it's a good thing he's young. Because I think anybody who is older and has that type of impediment, should we call it? Because I don't want to call it an injury. Something was he tweaked his hamstring.
Yeah.
And that hurts. I know what that's like. But for me, I'd be laid out for a week and a half.
He had an hour.
Right.
and he was still laid up.
It was just fun to see how everything worked out, how they were able to he was able to wrestle with that type of an injury, and how Brian Malonis was able to exploit it.
Yeah.
And just, 100%, I wanted RJ Rude to win, but I 100% thought that Brian Malonis was going to take it.
Yeah.
Because, bless his little heart, he's not as experienced, and he was hurt.
Yeah.
And Brian Malonis
is Brian Malonis.
Yes.
There's no other way to put it.
They don't call him the Kingpin for nothing.
Yeah. No, he's the immovable object.
Yes.
And he found out he is immovable, but he wasn't unbeatable. He ended up tweaking it out, and RJ Rude is your All Valley tournament
But what a
winner.
talented fella, huh?
And they came out and presented him with a trophy, which kind of scared me at first because I've watched a lot of wrestling in my life, and anytime anybody's been handed a trophy, it's never ended well for the trophy.
It then becomes a weapon.
This time, it didn't end that way.
Thank
he got
goodness.
to keep the trophy.
And well deserved. Good
Yes.
for you. Congratulations. And I'm excited because that's who I wanted to win.
Yeah, and it should present him with a future championship opportunity.
Right. Not
the next one, but, it puts him in line. Mm-hmm. He won the tournament. The tournament had to have been set for something other than a trophy. Mm-hmm. There's got to be something for management to look at.
But he could even say, hey, I deserve this because look at what I've done. This should be a golden ticket.
Yeah.
This should be...
It's almost like a Money in the Bank type of situation.
Right.
Maybe not call your shot, but, I deserve a shot at, Scotty Wilde or whoever the champion may be at the time.
Right.
This next match hurts me a lot. First of all, when this match was laid out, it was supposed to be a 6-pack challenge. Or 5, or it was 5.
It was 5 because Bacavella, he was he was with Channing Thomas, and they unfortunately couldn't attend, and so the two of them together, that's what made it look like 6.
Yeah, and so there was a couple people missing, but that being said, this was a triple threat match with special stipulations. In the winner will get a title shot, and the wrestler who gets pinned, the actual loser,
gets fired.
Will get fired. The 3 opponents in this match were hard-hitting Bobby Ocean, who we have lots of love for. We love Bobby Ocean.
Yes, we do.
And we had AJ Cruz, who we have a lot of love for.
Yes, we do.
He's just made his comeback, and and then the third was the King of Chaos, Logan Black, who we have a lot of love for in this house.
Yeah, we do.
This match was, well, as Bobby Ocean's name says, it was hard hitting.
And that's how they started. They started out
chopping, and they were hitting.
And for a venue where the sound dispersed, that those chops, you could still hear them. I think this was another match that I watched. I mean, I did watch through my fingers with RJ Rude and Kingpin. How could you not? And this match I also, because my heart didn't want anyone to lose.
There were obviously chants for each individual wrestler. Mm-hmm. Because they all have those names, and they're also loved by all the fans. Bobby Ocean, and then you got AJ Cruz, and then you had, for Logan Black, the fans will always sing his song for him. Mm-hmm. And, it starts out like that, and it really could have gone any way with these 3 guys. We even had chants of all these guys.
Multiple times.
Because nobody wanted anybody to not win with these 3 guys. If they had the other opponents in it, you'd have people that you didn't want to win. Mm-hmm. But you wanted all 3 of these guys to win. And they were fighting their asses off. They really were. It was inside the ring. It was outside the ring. It was in the air. It was...
Well, I mean, it was mostly in the air with...
AJ.
Yeah, because that's his style.
But it was all over the place.
It was.
It was a great match until the end.
And the end happened so quickly. I didn't... my heart didn't want to believe it.
I don't know how good of pictures I got of the end, because I was in shock of how the end happened. And listen, we wanted all these guys to win. So the guy that won, yes, I was happy to see him win. It was the guy that lost that I didn't want to see lose. And I didn't want to see any of them lose. Mm-hmm. It would have broke my heart
regardless
of all 3 ways if any of them lost. Mm-hmm. But AJ Cruz won.
And congratulations
he earned
to
it.
him.
He fought his ass off.
But I even think he was shocked.
He was.
When he stood up and
he was apologizing for winning.
Right. And
then the person he pinned was the King of Chaos, Logan Black.
When they announced that he was fired so immediately, and I think that I yelled out, "No!"
It wasn't Cameron Cole, the ring announcer's fault. He was doing his job. Mm-hmm. But because he announced it, Logan Black flipped him off. I don't know if you saw that, but as soon as he said,
I thought he flipped off AJ Cruz.
No, he was making eye contact with Cameron Cole, and he flipped him off. He was flipping off fast.
That's not his fault. He's doing his job.
But he said it.
Yeah.
He said the words.
He's shooting the messenger.
And they had a heartfelt moment in the middle of that ring with all three guys. They hugged it. They bowed down to each other. You know, it was, and Logan had a little bit of a moment with the fans. When he was coming around, we started singing his song again, and he said, "I'm going to miss that the most." He said that,
and then I cried,
and I got my hug. I was not letting that man leave that room without not getting my hug. There was no way. There was no fucking way he was leaving without getting a hug. That Logan Black is a special man to me. He, from the first time we saw him go through a soggy ass table, up, to the trilogy match with Scotty Wilde.
Oh, those
to ladder matches, be it there in PvP for opportunity to I've seen him at Blitzkrieg multiple times. We've seen him defend tag team titles at PvP with Jeremy Leary with the ECBC, to everything. We've seen forks, we've seen thumbtacks, we've seen barbed wire wrapped chairs, we've seen, you name it, we've seen it with him. I've seen him wrestle his ass off.
And always be so genuine and kind and
takes a
helpful
moment with everybody. Every fan.
I mean, kindness runs through him like
there is
like
a lot
blood.
There is a lot of Logan Black in this wrestling room right now, everywhere from pictures of his gear to his merch to his actual gear.
Anything
in his room
he put out,
is in this room.
Yes, because we
pins,
enjoy
patches,
this man, everything. Just him, he is an amazing person.
Yeah. We don't want to spend a whole lot of time on him, but
he deserves it.
He deserves it.
He was fired, and I hope that Matthew James is listening.
Yeah, if there is one thing wrong with how Saturday night went, that was it. Not that he lost. He lost. That's fine. That man does not. He is one of the pillars of PvP.
Right.
He is a heart and soul of PvP. He is Western Mass's adopted son. And son of a bitch, he needs to come back. And
we need to move on, because if we talk about this too
a wrong needs to be righted.
I'm going to cry.
And it needs to be righted. Something needs to be done. That's all. So we had that match, which again, congratulations to AJ Cruz. You did win, and you deserve to win. No slight on AJ Cruz whatsoever.
No, none at all.
Then we had our heavyweight championship match, which was Scotty Wilde, which this is another card subject to change due to injury. It was supposed to be Scotty Wilde versus Flip Gordon, but back injury.
And that's not something you want to fool around with.
No, and not with his style of wrestling.
Right. And I mean,
you don't call yourself Flip because you're a mat wrestler.
With a tweaked hamstring, that's hard enough.
Yeah.
But with something as fragile as your back and potentially spine, you don't want to mess with that.
And he has bigger fish to fry than a PvP championship.
Right,
so
exactly.
He needs to get himself back into fighting shape. So, best of luck to him. And he said he wants to come back.
And how kind was he to come out and apologize to the fans and say, hey, I brought in somebody to replace me that I think you're really going to like.
Maybe before the match, yeah.
There was a lot of animosity that I wasn't expecting.
It ended up being Scotty Wilde versus Anthony Green, which he is.
This man is beyond talented.
Listen, he made it to to WWE. He's actually been on Dark before. He's been on TV. He knows he's been in the business forever. He started out as a referee. He's done it all. And we've seen him at PvP before. Mm-hmm. One of the first matches we ever saw him win was with Mark Sterling and at Ricky Steamboat night. And that was one of the first times we saw him. And he ran a promotion, and because he got signed, that promotion kind of fell to the wayside, which sucked because it was great.
Yes, it was. It was really well run.
Back freaking yard.
Yeah, it was the closest one we've ever been able to attend.
Oh, I only have to drive 20 minutes instead of an hour and 20? Oh, great. Nope, not anymore. So
we'll drive wherever. That's fine.
Not the point.
But it was helpful.
So it was Anthony Green, the alternative now. And he was kind of
Ava has been rubbing off on him. Don't take it like that.
But he was put in the heel position, and he ran with it.
Oh, he embraced that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, he did. And I had somebody sit next to me who...
Oh, I had somebody sitting next to me who was very provoking.
They were poking this bear nonstop, and he took it and ran with it and kept coming at it. And boy, I think his mouth worked as hard as his wrestling.
But he gave it back just as good as he got.
Oh, big time.
I mean, this is a talent.
It was a great match. Get away from all the hoopla that was happening outside the ring with the fans. The wrestling was great. I mean, Scotty Wilde is still proving himself as a champion.
Right.
He's proving that he deserved that championship.
This is his third title defense?
Third, yeah, because it was AJ and then now Anthony Green.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is third defense and successful. Obviously, he took the W, and that he just proves that he deserves that championship, deserved that win, and he's got it. And we don't know what's next because I'm thinking that this was a year end for PvP, and I think they're going to come back after the new year.
I hope so, where I'm not going to be available until next year.
That title match was just unbelievable. It really was. And it was then that we went on to our second intermission. Again, that doesn't usually happen, but the reason for the second intermission was to set up the cage for the main event. It's been 5 years now that we've been going to indie wrestling. And on the indie scene, I have never seen a cage match. I've seen some ladder matches. I've seen, all the other, kind of, gimmick matches that you can have.
I mean, the logistics.
Places that we go don't lend itself to a cage match. And that's why they put it in this venue. Because it was high enough and big enough to keep the fans.
That is something I have to say. I was really happy about this venue, that I didn't hold my breath waiting for someone
to kick a chandelier or the ceiling tile.
Or a gas line. that people really need to take better precautions for that.
So they were setting up the cage, which was really cool to watch. It really was. I was standing back listening to the Johnny Idol play, which is just awesome to be able to do. Love our boy Johnny.
Yeah, I still wish that he would have played our song, but you can't always cater to our needs. But regardless, he is our favorite local entertainer. Yeah. He really is.
And I was standing back talking to one of the other fans and watching them construct the cage.
That was so fascinating.
It was cool to watch them work and, get it done, and Aaron Morrison directing traffic because it's kind of his baby. And
you know what I loved? I loved that AJ Cruz's son, Davian, helped.
Yeah, he loves being ring crew.
Yes, he's following in his father's footsteps.
Yep.
And I think that young man will be in that ring sooner than later when he's of age.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Big time. So they put together the cage, and this set up for the main event, and now it was time for the main event. And
which has been 5 long years in the making.
It's been a 5-year build to this storyline.
You know what's great? I think it was maybe the second time that we went. It could have been, I don't think it was the first, but it was either the second or the third time that we had gone to PvP. And I remember seeing this guy
standing in the corner.
Walking, he had a clipboard.
Yep.
He had a clipboard. He had some sort of like
a
stopwatch. And
he also had his tape measure.
Right.
He was measuring shit.
And he was on his phone, and I'm thinking, who the heck is this guy?
Yeah.
Who's this putz? And I just, because he didn't look like your typical wrestling fan, and I thought, is he here because of the location? And is he trying to see if there's something wrong with what's going on? And it's fascinating to see how it has progressed.
Yeah. And it kept building and building and building. Like, he kept getting more and more involved. And because we didn't know Alex Cypher's history.
Right. We didn't know
who Alex Cypher was. Some of the other fans do.
Right.
They knew who he was when he was a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know.
No.
We just thought he was some jamoke over here, and he was the Sports Athletic Commission is what he was being touted as. We thought it was legit.
And I thought, Jimmy,
until he started, he kept getting more and more involved, and then his title changed, and then this changed, and then this changed, and got involved and more involved, and it was just crazy how Alex Cypher has gotten more heat and more people angry at him. He garnered a nickname, which got signs. I don't know who made those signs, but they left them in my truck for some reason.
Mr. Instigator.
I didn't instigate nothing, but you're right. It's crazy how 5 years ago we just started seeing this guy lurking in the corner, and then all of a sudden it was what it was. And then you got Matthew James involved, then another promotion kind of spouted out of it, and then the pandemic happened, and we were an event away from closure.
Yeah, we were, until the world stopped.
Event.
Yeah,
we went to the last. No, we didn't go. We couldn't, because the world was shutting down. We didn't go to that next event, but they had that event, and then the next one was actually supposed to be what we got Saturday, which was supposed to be, they were going to have like 7 different matches or something like that, and if they went in Matthew James's favor or something like that, they were going to have the cage match, and that didn't end up happening.
Right.
So then we were just on hold for 2 years, 2.5 years.
It was.
And, fans were like, what's happening? What's going to happen? And then when they were coming back, everybody's still, well, whatever happened to...
the only thing that breaks my heart is that Larry and Sean didn't get... But what was lovely to see was that Sean's daughters were there.
Larry was there.
I thought, because while this was being constructed, my brain thought Larry would have loved this.
Yeah, he would have.
He would have absolutely loved this.
He would have walked by it and hit it with his cane or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, so we finally get to this moment, and they, Cypher gets introduced first. He comes out, and then Matthew James gets introduced, and he comes out.
With his shirt.
And he's got this shirt that he's got special made. Was it Sayonara? Cypher Nara on the back of it with 104. The 104 is because he works for a radio station that's 104.1. That's why the 104.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
And so, because he's a DJ over
Instead of Sayonara,
it's Cypher Nara. Just amazing.
Very clever.
And anybody who... I know Matthew James a little bit on a different way, outside of the ring a little bit, and he is the biggest Shane McMahon fan. Saying that, it tells you why certain spots happened in this match.
Oh God, it was more. I watched through my fingers more with this match than any other.
It was just.
Because
they never even made it in the cage at first.
Alex Cypher is a wrestler to begin with.
Yeah.
Matthew James is not.
No.
Bless his heart.
He's a ring announcer. He was a ring announcer. That's all he was supposed to do, was ring announce, and then it just blew the fuck up.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I thought that he was going to blow up. But, he tried to climb in, instead of coming in the
door.
In the door, he decided, I'm going to climb
over
up.
The top.
And, kudos to everybody that put it together and to how it was designed. It didn't fall apart. But Cypher came and pulled him down, and I knew we were off to the races.
And boy, were we. It stopped being in the cage. Well, it didn't even start being in the cage, but stuff happened outside the cage. Then all of a sudden they went behind the curtain, and the way this venue is set up, there's like a viewing area up top. And
it had windows.
It had windows, and then all of a sudden you see Matthew James with Cypher, and he's fighting through behind all these windows. So now all the audience is looking up. Well, most of them are, watching, and he puts his face up against it and smushes his face against the windows, and then he goes to the next. There's like sections. And he goes to the next section, he does the same thing, and all of a sudden he gets to the last one, and you see Cypher run beeline to the other end, and then you see Matthew James go, and then he brings him back, and he's pushing him in a desk chair, kind of like this one, with the wheels, and he's wheeling him that way. I'm like, oh my God.
And then they ended up on the balcony.
Then they came out on another section, where now it's like a balcony area, there's no windows, and there's a railing. Like I said, he's a huge fan of Shane McMahon.
Well, he tried to push.
He tried to push him over, and that didn't work.
Yeah,
because
all the dust came down.
But somehow he ends up back down, and Matthew James is still up top, and he came off the top of the rail, and
I thought the match was over at that point.
I'm like, oh my God, Matthew James is dead.
Right.
And his poor girlfriend is filming this.
Then
they finally ended up in the cage and just went.
And then the bell rang.
Yeah.
So
now it's official.
Now it's official. The bell rang.
It's not the first time we've had that happen.
Right.
So now they're in the cage and they're going. Matthew James promised that he was going to rake his face, Alex Cypher's face, across the cage.
He did it a few times.
And then he also had promised that he was going to break Alex Cypher's fingers off. Well, he forgot that he didn't do that yet, and he was making his way to escape, and he changed his mind and got back in, and then went after Alex. He should have just gotten the win when he could have, but he didn't.
Here's the thing: common sense is not factored into anything with wrestling.
No, of course not. So then, and then there was more outside interference and more outside. The closers came in, and
even Hammer Tunis came in with his cane, and I thought, Jesus, Mary and Joseph,
it's gonna be out even longer.
Yeah, I thought that cane's gonna be used against someone.
Wouldn't be the first time,
right? And then the cavalry came in.
Then some support on Matt James's side came out. And
Scotty Wilde,
AJ Cruz. RJ Rude came gimping out again. Bless his heart. Mm-hmm. But then, everybody's getting involved again. And then Matthew James escaped. He finally escaped the cage.
Like a snake, he slithered down those stairs. But I don't think he had the energy to do anything else, bless his heart.
So he won. And so that gives him full control of PvP, WMW.
I 100% did not see it happening that way.
I thought the shenanigans were going to overload, and we were...
Well, Tara thought the same thing. She thought, they're going to come out, they're going to beat the snots out of Matthew James, and Cypher's going to win.
Yeah.
And I think everybody there thought that. No offense to Matthew James, but he's not a wrestler. I mean, technically, this really wasn't a wrestling match.
This was a fight.
This was a street fight.
And, man.
And Cypher did it all with a tie.
Yeah, he had a tie and shirt and tie on under his tracksuit. What? I don't know, man. It had everything. It really did.
Except thumbtacks.
But
he went through a table.
Yeah, Matthew James came off the cage and threw Alex Cypher onto a table.
They couldn't
Nick
use
Schultz came running
ladders.
No, there were none left.
Exactly.
Those are gone.
Right.
So, again, it gives Matthew James full control of PvP. Hopefully he does all the right things. I mean, he's promised a lot of good things. So,
I'm excited to see where... But I'm also hesitant because that Cypher's not going down without a fight.
This was the culmination of a long told story. Mm-hmm. It ain't over.
No.
Not even by a long shot, it ain't over. This is a story that's going to be...
And if it isn't Cypher, it's going to be Hammer Tunis. Hammer Tunis, yeah.
Not or. They're going to... hand in hand, strolling down the beach.
Right. True. True.
I don't know. That it sets it up to be the next chapter, but it's not the end of the book. That's for damn sure.
That's a good way of putting it. I really like that.
It ends that chapter, which was a long freaking chapter.
Right.
But now, what's next? I'm there. I'm in for it. Sign me up. I'll read the next chapter. Let's go.
Exactly.
And man,
great storytelling.
What a night! What a night! They pulled off a lot in a. It was a long night, but they pulled off a lot. It
was definitely a go big.
Yeah, and then you finally got to go home. Mm-hmm. It was worth it. So all of that is all said and done. Mm-hmm. Performer of the night.
Performer of the night?
Yeah.
Performer of the night goes to the cage. Because I held my breath anytime anybody got near it. Because we've never seen one set up in person. Yeah. And so kudos that the design, it was sturdy, and good job, Jason Tunis, for wrapping those chains around it and keeping it tight. That's who I'm going with.
Oh man. There's so many contenders on this card for a performer of the night, and I really don't disagree with yours. It was fun to see my first cage match.
It was either the cage or it was the ladders.
No, they are not performer of the night. They fell out.
True.
My heart says one thing.
So go with it.
Logan Black.
Well, I mean, he's not dead.
No, I know that. I hated how that match ended. I don't hate it for AJ Cruz. I'm not mad at AJ Cruz. I'm not even mad at Logan Black.
Well, we don't know what the future will
hold. I
hold.
hope that there's either a good reason behind it or there's more story to be told.
Right.
And I really hope that there's more story to be told because I'm greedy and I'm selfish and that's what I want. I don't want Logan Black gone.
I agree. I don't either. But we don't know what the future holds.
That's what my heart says. My real performer of the night is RJ Rude.
Yes.
RJ Rude. First of all, he wrestled twice. He's not the only one to wrestle twice, but he wrestled twice that night. But he wrestled impaired.
Right.
I don't want to say injured. He was impaired. He was,
right.
Working on a sore leg. Mm-hmm. That kid earned that tournament. Mm-hmm. He earned the win of that tournament. He came up through the other matches, and mm-hmm. So yeah, RJ Rude is my performer of the night. Mm-hmm. With Logan for personal reasons, mm-hmm. But RJ Rude is my performer of the night. Match of the night.
Match of the night for me was the tag team ladder match for the tag team championship. For me, don't get me wrong, this was really hard to...
Yeah, there was a lot of contenders on that one, too, on
right.
Match of the night.
But I love matches where I don't know who's going to win. It's not a foregone conclusion. And it turns out something different. I'm upset with who won because closers boo.
Well,
but I enjoyed the match. I really did. There was so much to see, so much going on, and it flowed so well. And that's due to the talent that was in that ring.
Because they had to deal with an unforeseen towards the end of that match. Mm-hmm. And like I said, they didn't cut it short. They didn't say, all right, well, now what do we do?
Right.
No, we figured it out. We wrestled through it, and we still had a banger of a match.
And it wasn't even like, oh, okay, what do we do? It wasn't like, okay, pause.
Yeah.
It still flowed.
Somebody go get another ladder. Well,
right.
We had the 2 ladders, and we wrestled with what we had.
And, they put their bodies in the line, on the line to have that match finish. I'm not thrilled again with who won, but the quality of the match is what sealed it for me. How about you?
I mean, I'm going to say the main event because we got finality out of
right. Yeah.
Out of that storyline. Where it was second guessed when they announced that they were coming back. Are we just starting over? Mm-hmm. Are we going to forget? Because, a lot of wrestling, especially what you see on TV, is, all right, you remember what we want you to remember, you forget what we want you to forget. Mm-hmm. This is indie wrestling. We see you once a month, mm-hmm. and, we don't forget this stuff.
Right.
And then you're gone for 2.5 years, out of your control. Where are we picking up? Where are mm-hmm. we leaving off? And they picked it up and they ran with it for the past, 4 or 5 months now? Mm-hmm. And kept that story going until it was the right time mm-hmm. to tell the finality of the final of this story. And we got a finish. They mm-hmm. went big. They went home in the right way. And I'm not saying the right way in who won. I mean, I agree with it, with mm-hmm. who won, but that's not what I mean. They told it the right way, mm-hmm. where it wasn't convoluted. Where all right, well, Matthew James has full control. No, he has to earn that control that he wanted. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, and it was everything it was supposed to be, mm-hmm. and I think we got hopefully what we wanted, and hopefully it's Hopefully it doesn't go to Matthew James's head. We definitely didn't want the other.
Oh, heavens, no.
We've had that for long enough.
Right.
To where now, all right, it's PvP, and you have, you're champions and you have someone in charge, and let's tell the next chapter. And you couldn't get that without what we got at Saturday night. Right. And damn it, we've been riding along this story for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And it was the right time and the right way to tell that story, and I think we finally got it. And I'm proud of the people that put these things together the way that they did. Like I said,
there was a lot of thought. You could see there was a lot of thought and care and planning.
We came back, and they're doing what they were doing, and then they were throwing swerves, curveballs, multiple times with injuries that
with COVID,
swerved the story. Where, all right, now what do we do?
Right.
And didn't miss a beat.
No.
And that takes some talent in that respect. Mm-hmm. And my hat's off to them for doing it that way. Mm-hmm. And then having it work. Mm-hmm. That's why that's my match of the night. Mm-hmm. It really is. And Go Big or Go Home was a hit for me. Mm-hmm. It was a win. It really was. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. I hope you did.
I always enjoy PvP because of, it's not just, okay, we're going to throw all these wrestlers into, a mason jar, screw the top on, shake it, and
pull a name. Right.
There are reasons behind what happens.
Even if you don't see it at first.
Right.
Some of it may organically happen, and some of it, they have a reason for it, and they work themselves backwards, and it just makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's good storytelling.
Yes.
And that's been one of my praises for PvP for a while. Has been the way they tell a story.
Right.
And this proved it. Mm-hmm. And this really proved it. And that's why I hope that there's the right stories to be told in the next chapter of PvP. And
well, I'm sure it will be. Whether it's to our liking or not remains to be seen.
I mean, our champions now are Scotty Wild, heavyweight champion, women's champion, Big Juicy, woohoo, and tag team champions, the Closers.
Boo.
And new man in charge is Matthew James. Mm-hmm. That sets it up, that's the table that we've been set. Let's see where we go from here.
I just worry because power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, so we'll see how it goes with
nobody
Matthew
said
James.
That just because they're not in charge does not mean they're not involved. Somehow that little putz is going to worm his way into something. We've been around long enough to know what he's capable of.
True enough. And
nobody said he was fired.
And you can't trust the Closers. You can't.
You can trust to not trust them.
Well, that's true.
So, that being said, that was Go Big or Go Home, PvP. Amazing show. We had a great time. Eric, this is Anissa, and we'd like to thank you for joining us on Parts Unknown, and we'll see you at the matches.